Welcome, everyone. Dr. Thor here. Let's pick up again here in part 2 of how you can change your life and take care of all your problems. Now, if you put my teachings together, which, as I said, has developed over the last 50 years using the best of ancient technologies with the very, very advanced technologies I offer now. And these have evolved. And of course, it should evolve. If you're following somebody who's doing the same practices they did 20, 30, even 10 years, even 5 years ago, well, you've got somebody who really doesn't know what they're doing. Things are moving at a record pace. There are literally millions of texts that teach you practical information. What the problem we have now, which used to be in the past, it was difficult finding things, is that we have too much. And everybody's got the same thing. Now we have a whole slew of AI books, which are good to wipe your bottom with, that are going to be filling the bookstores, particularly Amazon, with all these fake titles. And they're very poor quality. And all an AI book does is give you already known information and put it together in a what appears to be semi-literate but vacuous booklet. So the whole idea is how, again, finding out what doesn't work is important and not finding the solution right away, because you're even going to go through stages, and there's a whole stage of ascension and everything else. It depends on your age. You know, if you're young and under basically in the handcuffs of your parents who are going to tell you what to do, you got to go to their church, do what they do, or, they love you so much, they'll throw you on the street. Nothing else. This is my house. You do what I tell you. That's the kind of slave mentality. Yeah, but they don't tell that to their employer, or they would be fired. So the whole idea is that all of the things that go on there is very, very interesting. So when you go through the important steps here of finding your way, it's very important that you find credible people, and you have to do your own research. Be careful what they say. What are they into? Who are the people that are their spokesmen? I mean, it's unbelievable when you look who these people align themselves with. Not only are they the most radical things, that these people are aligning themselves with well-known criminals and Satanists, but also you have just people who are very goofy. This Shanana Dean, I mean, she's got a spokesman, a guy that claims he's ascended. This is like some sort of idiot surfer dude. Yeah, Ascension dude with his long hair and his new age rap garbage. I mean, this guy's got the IQ of a handball. So the whole idea is that this is the reality that we live in. So you watch for things. What is their credibility? Watch for people who are making all sorts of claims, because making claims is kind of the fool's reality. Yeah, everybody wants to hear that. Everyone wants to hear that there's a magic lamp, you're going to do this and fly around the room, you'll take 2 drops of this and you're going to be healed. This is what people want to hear. That's not the reality of this plane. This plane is all about struggle and fight. So if you think something's going to be handed to you and it's going to be easy to apply in your life, well, again, that's just the laziness of human thinking. So, but you have to have that. But we have reached the stage now where we actually have taken human consciousness, human soul force, which is a combination of many energies within you, including psychic power. But psychic power is just an energy, generally extremely weak one. And while everybody has a little bit of psychic power, the key word there is little bit. Very few people have that. And they have all sorts of their predetermined beliefs. And they followed a bunch of fools who they believed the rap they were given to them, because they don't know any better. They're not in the industry. They follow people that sell them crap. And of course, since they spent $5,000 on that box of garbage with a little sharp computer on the front of it, they think that they have something great. And of course, when you ask them to do anything, they never have any proof of achieving anything. It's just unbelievable. But this is what happens when you deal with people. So you have to be able to reject all that stuff, and it's a process. It takes decades to come to the high level consciousness so you understand what's going on, and then you reach a certain high level and can release all these things. You are basically want to be part of the group. You want to wear blue jeans and t-shirts and get tattoos and stick things in your skin. You want to have a funny haircut. You want to be part of the crowd, because the crowd helps you, right? And of course, the crowd has built this great society we live in today with no problems whatsoever. So the whole idea is that when you want to be with a dysfunctional, mentally ill, evil reality, which is what society is, well, that's what you're working towards. You don't understand that? Well, you're not ascending. And the part of the ascension process is also the fact is most likely you're not going to be successful. So when you reject what the reality is there, you're also rejecting a higher, better path. So it means you don't get anywhere. You buy the garbage that doesn't work. You read the stupid books by others. And I've seen this, which is unbelievable from people. And some people cannot be helped. And of course, even when you give people facts, they don't recognize it. It just amazes me how people will follow almost to a level of worship people that have absolutely nothing to offer. I've seen this particularly in the recent months here with, of course, this is typical in the UFO community, which is the most dysfunctional of all the different groups out there. And here, this dedicated guy, he's a doer. He went out and translated books, had them translated in language. I forget about the Theophany or whatever it is that this guy dedicated himself to. And the book that he translated is such a piece of trash. How could somebody intelligent do that? Well, the point is that, again, are they intelligent? Well, not really. They're book learned. And he was dedicated. So he went and translated things, got people to work for him, and then found other stooges who translated these books as well. So the bottom line is that you just have one piling of garbage onto another of what? And there's not been a single UFO contactee that has ever produced anything. And they have nothing to offer, not one physical item whatsoever. And that goes for every single one of them. And people that claim to be a little smarter than others, well, they have nothing to show for it. It goes right up to today. We still don't even have that many good, clear pictures of, quote, crafts in general. We have no good pictures of extraterrestrials, and nor can people who claim they're in contact with these people all the time have any good pictures of anything. Now, regardless of whether pictures mean something or not, but in this day and age, because of photoshopping, of course, but people will tell you that about it. Oh, you could have photoshopped that. Well, that's right. You could do anything. I could have 3D printed my head. So the whole idea is that all these kind of nonsense that's out there, it doesn't matter. We need something that's viable. Whether it's proven or disproven is not the point, but it shows that, it's going to be pretty elaborate for somebody to go in there and make really good photos. Now, some of these have popped up for here and there, but they have nothing to show. And they don't have any physical evidence. Well, why don't they? Can't these ETs give you something? How about a little ring? How about an alien glass that they drink their scum out of? Anything. What about an alien t-shirt that said, I was abducted and I only got this t-shirt? So the whole idea is that all these things we have zero of. And these are people that are now telling us they have physical contact on a consistent basis, and they also have constant psychic contact. Yet no information on how to better your life. No meditation techniques, if we want to go down to the lowest of the barrel, the scum level. But there's no little secrets. Well, use this herb with this and that, and it'll help you live longer. This will help the soil better. This is a technique to eliminate toxins from your environment. Not a single one. Billy Meyer, who is in contact now for over 60 years, he's in his 80s, has produced nothing. All he does is give you prophecies. Yeah, we need more prophecies. And occasionally he gets close, but so what? So does everybody else. So does Gene Dixon and all the other psychics who release their psychic predictions for the following year in the National Enquirer. But most people who give predictions out are almost entirely wrong. And I've followed these people, but they're so bad they don't even bother it anymore. So nothing is there, nothing of practicality. And of course we go through all of it, that all of these people who are alien contactees, if they really are the dumbest people you could possibly have, which also means that the aliens are picking the lowest possible scum you could get. Particularly Billy Meyer, this guy who was started out in life as a low-level criminal, claims he was in the Foreign Legion. That's a good thing. Let's go and kill people in a foreign country for Paris. Yeah, let's bring the world to escargot. So the whole idea is, so that's it really good. He claims he was there, and of course, he comes up with Photoshop pictures, again, just like his alien craft Photoshop of what he did. So nothing of that. He even produced a ray gun, but he won't show it in action because, but he shows how something was burnt through a tree. Well, that doesn't mean anything. So the whole idea, but who cares? I don't need ray guns. And why extraterrestrials would give human beings, the most scum of the universe, weapons is beyond it. We don't need weapons. We need ways of balancing ourselves, healing ourselves so that we can make better decisions, growing better, purer food, producing energy. You get none of that from any of it. So if you're not getting that, what's the problem? So these are either the dumbest aliens in the world, which I think is part of it. I don't know why we should think that extraterrestrials are moral or smart. Why would that be? So the whole idea is, in life, moral and smart people are far and few between. And why would that be different in the universe? Because they come a long distance? What does that mean? So technology doesn't necessarily make you anything. I mean, we have a lot of people involved in technology, and most of them are pretty bozos. Sean Carroll? So the whole idea, Einstein. So the whole idea is that we have all these problems that we have out there that certainly the scientific community is not any more moral or not. I mean, matter of fact, the scientific community tends to be highly immoral. They're cheating on everything they do to get their little money. They're trying to get their name out there. They want to name everything after myself. This is what they all do. And it's a lot of ego because they want to have something left. It's the Federminer technique. Yeah, we need the Federminer technique. Yeah, that's me. So it's going to go down in history. Well, they shouldn't be naming things after people anyway, because they didn't invent this stuff. They expanded upon it. And while they should be given credit in general, the techniques were pioneered by others. So we have to understand that as well. So naming something after yourself is the ultimate idea. And of course, science loves that. And what have they brought us? I've talked about this. And do you understand the failure that this society is in general? And do you understand the failure of all of these people? You understand how bogus science is, how bogus... Well, if you don't, you're never going to ascend. And this ascension, the path of ascension, is the same path of success. So if you don't know what's good and you don't know how to get the products to work for you, and you're not dedicated to the real science of this world, which is manifesting science, then you are not going to make it. Now, all my technologies have helped everybody nobody's failed using anything that I offer. Now, did it meet your expectations?
Well, Dr. Two, it's not really a magic lamp. I rubbed it for 2 hours and nothing popped up in front of me.
Well, that's right, Bobo Monkey Man. It doesn't work like that. And if you don't understand that that kind of technology will never exist, then again, you are failing. That would upset the entire reality of the world. That anybody could get something, a tool, and get anything they want out of that. Well, that's not how any tools work. And it won't work like that in the future either. Even my technology, if you're not at a high level of consciousness, you're not going to get things to happen for you if you haven't dedicated yourself. So those people who have achieved high levels have been people that have stayed on the path and dedicated themselves. They have committed their mind, body, and soul to a certain amount to the path, which is what it takes to be a master at anything. But they have taken the time. They're smart enough, first of all, that they recognize the fact that they were brought to this organization to change them. Number one, they recognize that and they do it. But, there's an old saying that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Even though, horse, drink. We're going on a journey here and you're not going to get water for a long time.
Nope, not going to do it.
Well, we'll bury you in the sand with the other stupid horses that didn't drink. So once you're exposed to it, this is the big key, and there's a karmic penalty you pay. If you reject this organization and what we have to offer, you are in big, big spiritual trouble. Plain and simple. Again, if you're going to be led to something and then you reject it because of your own programming and stupid way of thinking, well, you are not going to ascend. Who wants you? because everybody else that ascends is going to be getting it. They're going to be using this kind of technology or something similar, and they're going to be guided to that higher. So that's the people you want to be with, not the guy who's using some box of garbage made by Satanists and freaks, some little box of semiconductors made by
Computer programmers.
so the whole idea is we have these realities out there that everybody has to face. Very, very important. So this is part of the success. So you got to know. But the people that are successful have dedicated themselves. They also dedicate themselves. They take the time to study it. And those who have reached high levels are generally people that have made a commitment in time and, very important, in money. Everything in this day and age boils down to money. Because that's what we value. The bottom line is money is way too important in life, and not rightfully so, but I mean, that's the way the game is played. And generally, things that are expensive are generally much better. Not that that's young, but if you want to live in a good neighborhood, it's a good neighborhood, so it means it's going to cost you more. So you can buy in the ghetto and get a cheap apartment, and you can dodge bullets all night. So the whole idea is that's the reality that you're looking at. So you want to get a really good car. Now, you don't have to spend, there are levels of toys that the rich people can buy where they cost them, I think it was, last time it was a Ferrari, I think it was $5,000 to change the oil. These are toys. And rich people, we want to buy toys with that. That's your prerogative if you have the money. But if you want to get a quality car that's comfortable, that's safe and everything else, it's going to cost you money. So that's the bottom line of it all. It's going to cost you money to do that, as with everything. If you want really something that's really good generally, not all the time, but generally, there's a reason for that, and that means it takes longer to make, just like clothing. Good fabrics are expensive, and they do last longer. Do they cost more? Well, not really if you got good clothing in terms of the fact that it will last longer. If you want to buy one of those $3 t-shirts you see at the beach, a tree for $10, well, once you wash them once, well, they're great for rags. You can clean your toilet with them after you wash them once. And they don't look good, and generally even the prints are bad. So all the things that go involved with that. So money means you have to take the money and your time. So instead of going out and dropping all your dough, going to bars and going to whatever people do to wasting their money on dope and whatever else out there that people waste their money on. But a lot of people waste their money. Sit in a sports bar for 6 hours, slopping down garbage and crappy food, watching other people do physical activities in some stupid game. You watch the Super Bowl? Why would I possibly do that? Couldn't think of more of a wasted thing. It's a tradition that should be flushed down the toilet. So the bottom line is all that stuff. But if you like that, that's something that turns you on for a few hours, so what? So everybody has something they do that may not be the most productive, but you enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're spending, people would go to sports bars every night of the week and watch sports and suck down bad beer. Beer is one of the worst drinks you can get. It just goes right there and destroys your pancreas. Once you have all that, once you do stuff like that, but you like sports, you like to watch a few games, nothing wrong with that in the bigger picture. But it usually isn't that. These people are psychotically into sports. And particularly those people that follow all the teams. Who won? Who gives a shit who wins? These people don't do anything for your life. And whether they win or lose, or whether you're particular, and it's amusing with all sports teams, because I don't know how this has anything to do with the city they're in. The New York Yankees, none of the players on the New York Yankees in this time are from New York. Not a single one of them. So I don't know if that ever was the case or not. And it's even more amusing when it comes to certain sports like European football, soccer. None of these people are even Europeans. Brazil, Argentina, Mexico. I mean, these are all the things you run into. So I'm not sure what that means. They certainly aren't from the countries that the people play with. And of course, all sports are rigged, just to give you that little bit. So what you're watching is a big fake anyway, and all the players are involved in it. So it's just the reality of it all. But the whole idea is that you have to understand all of that. So if you apply yourself, so this person And you can read all my testimonial pages and go there, how people have found all these things. And I continue to get this all the time. And everybody gets results to a certain level. Now, again, if you want magic lamp results where you're living in a fantasy, they don't exist, and you don't get that from any product, period. If someone tells you any of that stuff, it's a complete lie. So I've tested products for 50 years, and I have about 4 products that I've tested that work. So it's as simple as that. All the other stuff out there is junk. Especially with the claims they make. It's insulting and it's even illegal. So when people make stupid claims about their crap technology, which has nothing in them, particularly when it comes to things like radionics, which are nothing more than empty boxes or a little bunch of garbage electronic parts with a little sharp computer on the outside, SE shit, shit energy. I think, isn't that what that sounds? SE? Yeah. SE5? Shit energy number 5. So these are the kind of things that you get into. So when we move through all of that stuff, all the other people that are out there as well, whose great machine, his number one trained student that was training a whole bunch of others, dies of cancer. Or Peter Kelly using Hieronymus machines, whose wife dies of cancer and who he dies young because he's 350 pounds.
Yeah, follow them guys, buy them machines. You could get the reward that
they got. And that's what people deserve. Follow dangerous fools, and you become a dangerous fool that endangers your life and others, including your family. So this is what happens. This is why you have to have consciousness to know where you go. So if you have consciousness and you dedicate your time to these things, people who invest in the path, they get the books, they study the courses, they try to have interaction with me so they can be empowerment with the organization and the stream of empowerment I offer, and a lot of the internal stuff that are not taught to the general public. But having contact with a master that you can have communication with is critical for your growing empowerment. If you don't have that, you're not going to do well. This is a connection that is allowed to certain people to get because they have been indirectly screened. You have the technologies who create basically experts. If you want to become a master, you have to work with another master, and you'll find these things. There's all sorts of special things that happen to people that I know. They get the first of everything. They get all the upgrades. They get all things that are generally not offered to the public. So it's important to establish a particular relationship with the master and try and get information back and forth, whether it's emails or at least trying to move things up to proper phone calls, which we allow certain people at. But you also have to be dedicated. Are you supporting the organization? Are you things like a Patreon member? Are you a member of All Access and Thor's Club? Are you taking the money you have and buying products from that organization and using them? If you're not, you're a loser. It's not going to happen. People that are dedicated to a path or whatever, they dedicate themselves to a high level. So if you're not doing that and you're not giving back and you're not working with the energy will not reward you. This is all part of the ascension process. And people that have reached high and have high levels of success are always doing well. And I just got an email from the person who does extremely well because he's dedicated to them. He's invested a lot. He has many machines. He's gotten all the books, and he's still empowering himself. He's working with the basics. He's empowering himself. And even in this horrible energetic period that we have now, here's a person that always does well. Well, first of all, this person is a high consciousness person to begin with, even though has a very similar background to even myself, coming from a low middle class background whose parents are not really with it. But he has grown above that, and he recognized now at his age that of how goofy his parents are, and how unsupportive they are, and how, do you really want to go home at Christmas anymore? Not really. They have nothing to offer you. You're just going to go back with dumb people. So the whole idea is you got to stay away from dumb people. But, then people fall into the category of being lonely. And of course, everybody runs into the same path. Those are things you have to recognize, but it's part of the path. It's going to be easy. I just told you it's not going to be easy. The only thing that easiness breeds is lazy, evil people. Now, if it's easy, everybody does it. If it's cheap, everybody has it. So that's the reality of it. You want to keep a certain group of people in a particular area, let's say a beach house, well, you're not going to have it so the guy can pay $200 a month rent on it, because who's going to be in there? Well, the problem is most people who don't have money and who are poor are generally kind of, I don't know if you call them bad people, but they're low-class people, and they have low-class ways that generally you don't see in any rich neighborhoods. You don't see trash and graffiti in Beverly Hills. The rich people take care of that. So the whole idea is that, and that is not a high state of living, having graffiti and trash. So the whole idea is that once you see, just like expensive items that tend to be made better and are quality and maybe even have value in them, cheap stuff doesn't. That's the nature of the world. So there is something to that. So you have to recognize that. You also have to recognize who are you, where are you going to put your money? This guy could go out and buy all sorts of crap, fancy clothes, fancy cars. He could spend going to fancy dinners and doing all the things that people could do instead of investing in his technology and investing in what he's doing and spending his time. And of course, he's recognized as well is that, well, it's kind of boring going out. Who wants to go and do all the stuff other people do? Who wants to go to concerts and movies and other things? And they may be okay occasionally, but the stuff that people do all the time and waste their money on are very unfulfilling. They last for very short periods of time. So he's not indulging in regular society things. He's not wasting a lot of time pursuing sexuality. All of that, it has its time and place. So the whole idea is that's it. So you put your money in there. He certainly could put his money in other places and have fancier things and fancy cars and other things. But he doesn't do that, so he has the money to do it. So even in this very tough time, everything continues to go well for him. In recent times, because of the negative energy, he went back into the actual basics of learning to center himself. Now, I've never stated to people that the centering process was Ascension until recently. That has been released, but it's always been there. And these are one of the courses that everybody ignores, and they're so important, which is your centering in your occult gym. These are the muscles that you pump, the psychic pumping of iron you do, so that your consciousness machines work. Now, boring, I don't want to do that. Give me a machine. I'm going to give it a double whammy, and it's going to do what I want. It's not how things work. There's no such thing as technologies that work like that. Most programs, even computer programs that are very advanced and do a certain percentage of the work for you, which is so classically illustrated in things like architectural software, you have to be an architect to use it. And if you don't understand the basics, you don't get end products that are good. So, that's how life is, and we really have to understand how all that works. So through this, and the kicker here, which I found very amusing and so typical of when energy works for you and you're successful, is the fact that all sorts of little things start to happen. So he's meeting good people that are more interesting. He's having day-to-day less problems. His paycheck, which is deposited in his bank, all of a sudden got there early, got there a week early. Why? Well, because all the good energy's with you. So once you get natures of that. So he's going through that, and all these positive thinking happens. And what's also happening, which is very interesting, and I hear this often, is that the people he knows, he's got a friend of his that he knows that he is getting his shit together. He just got out of a terrible relationship. Where did that come from? Well, it came from him. He gave his buddy that positive energy indirectly that he then started changing his life. So when you change your life, you're changing the life around you. I hope everybody's understanding this very profound stuff. And these are real life. Everything I put up in my testimonials is 100% true. And I could put pages and pages of them there. But the point is, I'm no longer pulling back. You have to understand the kind of heavily evolved person I am, and how the fact that I've reached what is considered the Buddha head, the Godhead. I know exactly what's going on. Now, again, I don't claim to have any powers, even though I've manifested everything I've ever wanted. And secondly, I've survived where they've been trying to kill me since childhood. This is nothing overly new. So the miracles in my life are endless, but I will go into these in certain areas. But again, he is fully supported of the organization. He is in Patreon. He's in All Access. He's in Thor's Club. He's in all the areas to empower himself with. That's not helping the organization that much. None of these are very expensive. It's a very small amount of money that most people probably blow every month on God knows what. Pot, dope, porno magazine, whatever the hell you blow your money on, whiskey, whatever it may be. So it's a small amount of money, but it shows dedication, and you get back. And when you tithing is an old principle, is that when you give to something good, you're opening yourself up to receiving 10 times more back. Now, this is a principle that works as well that few people seem to understand. A lot of the con artist Christians use a tithe and the money comes out. Well, yes and no, but if you give to Jimmy Swaggart, you're not going to get anything back but a used condom. But the whole idea is that's the reality of doing that. So by doing that, so he's changing his friends. His friends now are changing their life because of him. And his life is changing radically. And he's got one major break after another. Now, again, he's a smart guy. He's applied himself. He didn't sit back on his couch eating Cheetos saying, where's that big job I want? No, he goes for it. And he empowers everything he does. And it works because first of all, he is doing the work himself. And he's using the correct tech. Time and time again, this guy's done amazing things. He's basically in his middle 20s, and he's really at a level that a 45-year-old would be in success in life. And he doesn't have any great educational background or anything else. He's just a go-getter, and he's smart. So the whole idea is he's using technology that works, and he's proved it to himself. And the kicker of it all is he's having such great empowerment after doing a lot of his centering work and his occult gym work. So he goes out to buy some food, and he goes to the In-N-Out drive-thru, the great hamburger place in. Generally, it's on the West Coast, which has some of the best burgers ever made. Really a great place. He's going through the drive-thru, and when he gets up to the drive-thru, they tell him, your meal's been paid for by the car in front of you. When the energy runs, it runs big and just keeps going. Even in the sewer energy we are at right now. This is how things go when you are in you're in the groove, as they say. This happens to a lot of people when they play sports and stuff. Sometimes you're playing a sport, basketball, whatever, you can't miss. Other days, you don't even know where you're at. So this is how you empower yourself, and I have endless amounts of this. Is how this works in your life. It works for people that know you, and it's not expensive. It's not difficult, but you have to be in the groove. Are you in the groove? Not only because you're fortunate in this day and age to have all these connections, all these YouTubes, all these things you can go to and be taught from the master directly. That was never available. You'd get a course somewhere, and maybe you'd go to a seminar. Which are fun, but you don't get anything in a gangbang situation where there's 50 people there. So the whole idea is that just doesn't work well. So all of these things are available to you now, and they're there for unbelievably cheap prices. But if you're struggling in life and things aren't working out, are you following these principles? Do you have the right technology? Are you connecting to the energy? Oh, you don't want to pay those small amounts of money? Well, you're just cutting your own throat, and they are small amounts of money. I can guarantee you're wasting it. In a society where everything is so expensive, including $7 for a cup of coffee and probably $10 if you want to get yourself a little pastry, is ridiculous. Where oftentimes, and of course now it's changing because people can't afford it, but you would have to spend $15 to get yourself a little fast food meal. All of this stuff, if you channel the energies correctly, will bring you back ultimate success. But you have to be connected to it. It has to become part of your reality. This not only manifests you here and now, but the ultimate payoff is that you are then getting close to and will achieve, if you stay on the path, ascension and go to the next higher level. And basically you beat the game. It's Monopoly. You've won. You've ascended out of the prison, and now you're able to go into a much more higher reality where you can develop as high as you want in the next realms without all the horrible stuff that we have here, the death, the disease, everything else. That comes to people who reach it. And getting to that level and being able to ascend, damn right it ain't easy. And I don't want any of you non-committed people there. I don't want any of these scumbuckets out there. I mean, when I started teaching Ascension many years ago, and was part of my teachings when the evil person who was in my organization at that time, the Satanist that he was, well, now the Satanists like to use the term Ascension. They use that Ascension because they got that from me. They got that from me and the master of EA Kinetic, Carl Wells, who took all that stuff to try and move people away from my path or my teachings. So again, be very careful. Follow fools, and you not only become a fool, you will be destroyed. And that's it. It's not difficult. It's easy to do. Follow my trainings, and you are guaranteed the highest possible level you can get for yourself. But you have to develop yourself, and it takes decades. Not to learn anything, but for you to beat the garbage out of your brain and out of your consciousness and replace it with pure empowerment. And it's all here now as we move into the ultimate, where consciousness machines will empower you to the highest possible level that humans can get in the quickest period of time. It's amazing. It's here. It's now. And watch for the new developments. Until next time.